it was the addendum to the series. Either way, basically, you're correct. In 1913, these crooks took advantage and took control of the financial system in the United States of America, and they've used war, depression, and inflation to tax and rape and pillage the people now for, almost 100 years. So it looks like their 100-year plan is coming to fruition. But, here's the great thing, is that there's good in all things. There's negative in all things as well. And you can have fun in the face of tyranny here in 2011. You can go out to the Federal Reserve Bank any day, and I would encourage you to. But a time like Saturday, where we're going to have a lot of people coming out, and especially in your local city, if there is a Federal Reserve Bank, surely there's going to be people coming out enjoying Guy Fawkes Saturday. And even if you're a little intimidated and you don't really know all about this, if you're compelled to go. You'll meet wonderful people. You'll make relationships that'll last a lifetime with like-minded people, and you'll be able to disseminate information, and that's what it's all about.
Rick, what have you continued to see with the larger Occupy movement, not only there in Dallas, but what is the significance, 2 months later, or at least several weeks later of this movement as it continues on one front or another? What is its overall significance? And the question I really think that goes with that, though, is do they have a global financial solution waiting? We know for years there's been talk of the dollar losing its reserve status. Do Soros and company have a sort of new global standard waiting in the wings? Is that what their Bretton Woods II meeting was all about? What do you think about some of those topics?
Well, obviously, they have a global financial standard that they have in waiting that they're going to force everybody into. That's obviously the answer to this global crisis is a global currency, and surely backed with, a more global governance, more security on our behalf, more invasion into our privacy. It doesn't seem like that would be possible, but that's obviously their plan, is they want more control, and they'll get that through this new global currency if they have their way. Now, back to the Occupy Dallas, though, or the Occupy movement. It's really interesting. I would like to first and foremost encourage people just to think, chill for a little bit and think about what's going on. Any movement that has ever existed has had all kinds of sides to it. One of the issues that we have at Occupy Dallas right now, I do media, and I believe in independent media. Well, they have a need to have a lot of their media censored, if you will, or go through the Occupy Dallas group so that it reflects upon Occupy Dallas. And I think that's great for that part of the media outlet. But independent media people are going to be the ones that will really tell the real story of what happens at Occupy Dallas. So that's my goal right now. My heart is on teaching people how to use their cell phones to make videos and instantaneously up those videos to YouTube and have instant news reporting on the ground at Occupy Dallas.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Now is the time, whether it's using this electronic media to broadcast almost instantly or just getting out there. This is the time in history where if we're going to make a difference, we're going to make it now. And that's why we're doing this InfoWars Money Bomb, to try to grow. That's why we're telling people to get out on the streets and reach people while everyone's focused on these issues. But they always have a global solution for everything. At the same time, though, we've seen everything that's looming in Europe. Greece has at least floated the idea of reprinting the drachma. I know Germany has rumored to have the Deutsche Mark ready to go in the case of Euro collapse. Why is it always a global solution? I've heard about countries like Argentina. It's late at night. I don't know if I mixed the facts, but they returned to their currency. It was devalued. It wasn't worth much. Their economy crashed, but they also recovered in just about a year, and then they were stronger than ever. Why is it always a greater global solution we're pushed into when obviously there could be other solutions? I'm not saying returning to the drachma or the Deutsche Mark is best for the world, but it's time to look at these things, I think.
Well, Aaron, it's about control is what it's about ultimately. And the easiest thing in life is self-provision. The reason why providing for yourself is so easy is because it's actually ordered into nature or ordered into the universe, just like air, oxygen that we breathe, or water that we drink. Food also is ordered into nature in the same type of way. And what these people, the way that when you really understand how great the evils that they're capable of, it's when you figure out that, they really killed our food. They killed our food. We should have, or we could have, pomegranates growing in our cities. We could have pomegranate trees. We could have pecan trees growing. There's no reason why we shouldn't have readily access to food, just like you do oxygen and water.
Yeah, but instead they have weaponized it, just as Kissinger talked about in the 70s in a different context. They've weaponized the food through the GMOs and all the additives and little bonus chemicals they put in our water and our air supply. It's true what you said. Yeah, we should have a right to food, and it really should be a natural part of our lives. But instead, they've sold us on the dehumanization and got us to accept the tyranny on our own right. We just played the video, brain-eating vaccines, and in it there's some clips from THX 1138, George Lucas's film, and that's about a new world order system and a future technocracy. And really the whole metaphor is, yes, there's a ruling class, but you never see them in the film. They're off screen. What really happened was the people enslaved themselves. The people built up the system. They built the robots that regulate them, and they bought into this drugging themselves to suppress their own humanity. In the film, the characters start to change when they stop taking the drugs and they return to their normal sexual behavior and their normal thoughts, and that's what really becomes revolutionary. Rick?
Well, it's hard to say, Aaron, if that would, that obviously exists in human nature, that type of tension. If there's good and bad in everything, or positive and negative in everything, then there's this tension between the two. And so I believe that these social engineers, or the people who designed this multiple-pronged deceptive program, they obviously recognized that to some extent, that there was this nature within us to where we just would not want to accept the truth, or we just would not be interested enough in truth and reality to want to, not only not fight for it, but just to kind of go along and even give up your rights. And here's a good example. There's a prime example, bring up Occupy Dallas. I keep bringing up Occupy Dallas because, folks, I've been sleeping over there. My tent's been up there for a week now. And so I've got a real good handle on what's going on there. And in that microcosm, you have everything that you have in the real world, just kind of in a smaller little microcosm. So you have people there that they just want to give up their rights for the greater good of the whole cause. And then there's this other group of people, and it's about 50-50 now. There's this other group of people that are First Amendmenters, meaning that we know that the First Amendment recognizes our existing right just to be. And sometimes just being is enough because we are powerful, wonderful creatures. And that's what they're against. They're against this system that's been designed, the banking system, the financial system, the food, the medicine, the war, the drugs. All of it's designed to come against that natural design of you just being, and just being is enough, because when you're being, you're assimilating truth, you're in that context of assimilating truth. Truth does something magical. Truth, it inspires us and encourages us, which another word for those are strengthens us. So there really is a strengthening process in just hanging out, having good conversations about truth and reality. And so that's the way that I see the program that they've designed, this deception program or this brainwashing program, is that it's really all designed to keep you down. And that's the evidence that they recognize that you're actually a very powerful person.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. That's really what it's all about. They're trying to limit our consciousness because we're capable of so much. And of course, if things were left to ourselves, it would never be perfect, but we can figure out in our communities and amongst ourselves individually how to take care of ourselves. God has provided so much. Nature has provided so much that we can rely on. They've built up this whole false system of limited availability of these fiat dollars, this fake money, to trap us into this so they could control us. On the one hand, manage us efficiently, maintain the population according to their agenda, but also to keep us from thinking about the larger things and competing with the system that they brought out. I think that's a large part of what it's really all about. And to take the Occupy spirit further, we need to do, what you're saying, talk to people, just express our own consciousness, assert the things that we know into the public debate, into the public dimensions, the political sphere, the rest of it. We really need to occupy the whole world around us, occupy all those avenues where we have a voice. The political arena is one of them. Just a possible scenario if a guy like Herman Cain were to get the GOP nomination, despite all the effort and energy we put into Ron Paul, that's another opportunity just to expose the Fed, a former Federal Reserve chairman out of Kansas City. That's an opportunity to expose the tyranny of the system because of the kind of candidates who come to the top. Meanwhile, we don't give up. We have someone like Ron Paul run third party. We have people like Jesse Ventura talking about just simply operating outside of the left-right system. We have people standing up to the TSA and all the rest of it. I think it's a general Occupy spirit we need. I guess Gandhi put it into words, so did people like Henry David Thoreau. Rick Warden.
Yes, thank you for the setup. If I can speak directly to your listeners about the Occupy movement, InfoWar listeners by and large are going to be a First Amendment people. They're going to be lovers of liberty. And there is a place for your voice to be heard within the Occupy movements. It's like any other thing, though. I wouldn't encourage you to expect to go down there, spend 15 minutes, and have a voice. There are people that have been down there for days and weeks and going on a month now. So you have to invest some time. You have to be patient with the process. But I'll promise you, there is a place for your voice within the Occupy movement. That's number one. Number two is that I would really appreciate personally your voice and your support along with me and other lovers of liberty within the Occupy movement. And let me tell you why I'm saying this. What I'm experiencing on a daily basis is people that agree with me, agree with First Amendment issues, agree with just lovers of liberty, that the ending the Fed or auditing the Fed is really at the top of our goal right now as in our country, and these kind of things. People that are like-minded, they'll go down and they'll get frustrated with the process and leave. And I encourage them. I'm like, well, don't you understand? You're taking all your wonderful ideas and your passion and you're leaving. You're not helping by leaving. Or maybe they are if they're pissed off and not having a good time. But my point is that there is a place for your voice within the Occupy movement. You might have to be a little patient, but if you have time and you're compelled to do so, please come on down. Let me give you another example, Aaron. The Hare Krishnas have made a name for themselves feeding a lot of the Occupy camps. It's true. They have some of the best, healthiest food. They come to the camp every day, and they feed us. And you know what? Last Sunday, just out of appreciation, probably about 40 people from Occupy Dallas, we attended the Hare Krishna service over here in Dallas on Sunday. Many of us dressed up in our Halloween garb. I was a zombie because we did a show on Saturday night where I dressed as a zombie. So I was dressed as a zombie, dancing in their ceremony and doing some Michael Jackson Thriller type stuff, and we had a great time. So my point is that, I mean, my goodness, if you got a bus, go down there and pick up some people, take them over to the Federal Reserve, go love